A loud knock, then a scream, tore through the quiet of an ordinary evening in Saugus. The sound was a prelude to chaos, a sudden and violent intrusion that transformed a private home into a scene of terror. Panicked neighbors, hearing the disturbance, quickly reached for their phones and dialed 911. Their calls flooded the emergency lines, each one painting a frantic picture of a home invasion in progress. The initial reports were alarming, filled with the raw fear of those who found themselves thrust into a dangerous and unpredictable situation. Gunfire was reported, a detail that escalated the response and sent a wave of anxiety through the entire neighborhood. Police were dispatched immediately, their sirens wailing as they raced toward the unfolding crisis. The first officers arriving on the scene were met with a tense and uncertain environment. They approached the residents with caution, aware that they were walking into a potentially active and armed confrontation. Doors were damaged, and the sense of violation hung heavy in the air. The primary concern for the officers was the safety of anyone who might still be inside the house, as well as the residents of the surrounding homes. They worked quickly to secure the area, moving people to safety, and establishing a perimeter to contain the threat and prevent any further danger from spilling into the community. For the people living on that street, the night became a blur of flashing blue and red lights and the authoritative commands of police officers. Families were told to stay inside, to lock their doors, and to stay away from their windows. The normalcy of their suburban lives was abruptly suspended, replaced by the grim reality of a major police incident unfolding just feet from their front doors. The presence of law enforcement was both a source of reassurance and a stark reminder of the danger that had so suddenly appeared. Children who were likely getting ready for bed were now witnesses to a scene of serious crime, their sense of security shaken by the events outside. The immediate aftermath of the initial call was a carefully coordinated effort to understand what had happened. Police confirmed that while there were signs of a struggle and reports of a firearm being discharged, a small miracle had occurred. No one had been physically injured. This fact, however, did not diminish the severity of the incident or the psychological trauma inflicted upon the victims and the broader community. The home invasion served as a brutal reminder that violence can erupt anywhere, at any time, shattering the illusion of safety and leaving a lasting impact on those who experience it firsthand. The focus for law enforcement now shifted from immediate response to investigation and apprehension. As the investigation rapidly progressed, law enforcement officials were able to identify and name the two men they believe were responsible for the terrifying home invasion. Derek Matarazzo, 38 years old. Timothy Gregory, 55. Both men are residents of Boston, connecting the suburban incident back to the city. Their arrests marked a turning point from an active threat to the start of the legal process. The naming of the suspects brought a sense of clarity to the community. The swift identification was a testament to the initial police work at the scene. The charges filed against Matarazzo and Gregory reflect the extreme gravity of their alleged actions. They face a formidable list of multiple felony charges, each one carrying the potential for significant prison time. Home invasion. Assault with a dangerous weapon. Discharging of a firearm within 500 feet of a dwelling. The breadth of these charges paints a picture of a violent and reckless event. When Derek Matarazzo and Timothy Gregory were brought before a judge in Lynn District Court, the initial phase of their legal battle began. Both men entered pleas of not guilty to all the charges. Despite their pleas, the court proceeding moved to the question of bail. Prosecutors argued forcefully that the two men posed a significant threat to public safety if released. They pointed to the violent nature of the alleged crimes and the use of a firearm as evidence. The judge ultimately sided with the prosecution's assessment of the risk the men posed. The judge ordered that both Matarazzo and Gregory be held without bail. This ruling meant they would not be returning to the community. They were transferred to the custody of the Essex County House of Correction. Their incarceration ensures, for the time being, the public is protected while the courts work to determine their guilt or innocence. Law and order reasserted itself as the case moved into the courts. The critical moments following the 911 calls were not confined to the initial crime scene. The suspects, Derek Matarazzo, Timothy Gregory, did not remain at the Saugus home, which prompted an urgent and expanding search of the surrounding areas. Police officers fanned out, relying on witness descriptions, their knowledge of the local landscape to track the suspects' potential escape routes. This phase of the operation is often a tense and dynamic race against time. In a nearby neighborhood, officers on patrol spotted a man who closely matched the physical description of one of the suspects provided by witnesses. That crucial sighting immediately triggered a police pursuit, transforming the quiet streets into a stage for a high-stakes chase. While the specifics of the Saugus pursuit remain part of the ongoing investigation, such chases often unfold with dramatic intensity. Law enforcement responses in similar situations, like a recent incident in Dorchester, illustrate the typical challenges officers face. In that case, a suspect fled on foot upon seeing police, leading officers on a frantic chase down Moreland Street. The pursuit involved the suspect jumping over fences, disappearing into residential backyards, forcing officers to adapt their tactics on the fly. This kind of unpredictable movement requires officers to maintain visual contact coordinate with backup units to establish a perimeter and make split-second decisions to ensure the safety of the public while trying to apprehend a fleeing individual. The culmination of these pursuits frequently involves a suspect attempting to find refuge inside a building, hoping to evade capture by blending in or hiding. In the Dorchester foot chase, the suspect ran through the back door of an apartment building at 24 Wakula Street. This action immediately escalated the situation, as officers then had to clear the building to ensure no residents were being held hostage or put in harm's way. They methodically swept through the apartments, a tense process of searching room by room. This careful and deliberate procedure is vital to preventing further violence and ensuring that the suspect is cornered without any opportunity to harm others or escape again. Ultimately, these determined efforts pay off. In the Dorchester incident, the search concluded when officers discovered the suspect, a 19-year-old named LaShawn Scott, hiding inside a closet within one of the apartments. He was taken into custody without further incident, bringing a safe end to a dangerous chase. This outcome highlights the persistence and systematic approach required of police officers in these fluid situations. In the midst of the fear and confusion that descended upon the Saugus neighborhood, some residents became crucial eyewitnesses. Close shots of a quiet street suddenly disturbed, porch lights, doors ajar, people peering out. One resident, George Ben, had a direct view of the unfolding drama. Ben later told his harrowing account to a local news station. He described a shocking, surreal sight. A man, face obscured by a mask, standing boldly in the middle of the street. The image wasn't fleeting. It was sustained and terrifying, etched into his memory. The man was dressed entirely in black. The man was holding a gun. Ben said the armed man was aiming the weapon, a posture that radiated threat. For residents, an armed, masked individual in their neighborhood is profoundly unsettling. It turned a familiar street into a zone of potential violence. Ben's testimony captured the raw fear and helplessness many felt that night. His account became an invaluable piece of the investigative puzzle for police. They helped build a timeline of events. In the hours and days after the Saugus home invasion, the Boston Police Department issued statements. Local Saugus officials issued statements. The statements aimed to inform the public and detail the investigation. Saugus Police Chief Michael Ricciardelli confirmed that gunfire was part of the incident. He emphasized that despite the weapon discharge, no one was physically harmed. The message acknowledged the severity while reassuring a worried public. The chief highlighted the fast response of his officers. Officers located and apprehended the two suspects shortly after 911 calls. That quick action helped prevent further escalation. Investigations into armed home invasions are complex and extend beyond initial arrests. In a similar month-long District B3 probe, multiple agencies were involved. That probe culminated in search warrants executed with SWAT and Wellesley. Police collaboration is often necessary to gather enough evidence for conviction. Detectives seized cell phones as evidence. They seized clothing believed to have been worn during the crime. They seized a firearm with ammunition. The Saugus home invasion and the subsequent police response occurred against a backdrop of a larger citywide conversation in Boston about police transparency and the use of body-worn cameras. These small devices, worn on an officer's uniform, capture a first-hand video and audio account routine, traffic stops, high-stakes incidents like foot pursuits, arrests. For many citizens and civil rights advocates, this footage is seen as an objective and indispensable tool for accountability. It can provide clear evidence of what transpired, potentially corroborating or contradicting official reports and witness statements. In a case like this, bodycam footage could show the chase and the moment of arrest, offering a raw view of the police work involved. This debate over bodycam footage gained significant momentum in Boston, following a separate, tragic incident earlier in the year. On March 11, 2026, a carjacking suspect named Stevenson King was fatally shot by Officer Nicholas O'Malley. In the aftermath, Suffolk County District Attorney Kevin Hayden charged the officer with manslaughter, but cited the ongoing investigation as the reason for declining to release any bodycam footage of the shooting. This decision sparked a significant public outcry and led two Boston City Councilors to file legislation aimed at updating the Boston Police Department's policies on the release of footage from such critical incidents. The push for new rules is centered on the principle of timely access. The successful and swift arrests in the Saugus home invasion stand as a powerful testament to the effectiveness of a rapid and coordinated police response. Officers demonstrated their ability to act decisively under immense pressure. First, by securing the crime scene, ensuring no one was hurt, and then by quickly launching a search that resulted in the apprehension of both suspects. This outcome brought immediate relief to a terrified community. At the same time, the incident and its aftermath are woven into the broader, crucial conversation about police transparency. Both are essential for a just and secure community. Ultimately, the story of this Saugus home invasion is twofold. It is a story of fear and violation, but also one of resilience and effective action. No one was physically injured. The suspects were quickly taken into custody. The legal system is now at work. As the case against Derek Matarazzo and Timothy Gregory proceeds, the city of Boston will continue to grapple with the larger questions of public policy that it has raised. The path forward requires a dual commitment: decisive law enforcement and transparent, accountable governance.